Hey, have you noticed all the brown, dead, and dying pine trees around here? Hey, if you've got a pine tree and it's not a deep, dark green color in the foliage, you may have a real problem. I wanted to talk to you about that today. Hey, I'm Matt Latham, Board Certified Master Arborist and member of the American Society of Consulting Arborists. And we're talking about pine bark beetles. Now, you may have seen as you're driving down the highway or driving along in your neighborhoods, there's a lot of pine trees that are dying around the area. And most of the time, or a good portion of the time at least, it's pine bark beetles. What are they? Well, they're little tiny beetles, some as small as 1/16 of an inch. Very hard to detect, very hard to see. And so if you've got pines, the best measure of control is prevention. Of course, we all know the term prevention is the best medicine. That's especially so with pine bark beetles. So here's a couple things you need to look for with your trees. First of all, you want to take a look up in the canopy. You want to look at the needles. Now the needles, a lot of people think that yellow needles are an okay sign on a pine tree, but a lot of times that could be a nutrient deficiency, which can leave the tree stressed and prone to pine bark beetles. Now, if you look here on the trunk, there's another couple of things you want to look for. Now, you may not be able to see it, so I'll post some photos down below, but this is an exit wound. Now, as the pine bark beetles, they go in, they attack your tree, they lay their eggs inside, and as the adults emerge, they exit the tree, causing these little tiny holes in the tree. Now, the ones you really got to look out for are the little itty bitty tiny ones. Those are the worst that I've seen. Another thing here is you'll notice sometimes you'll get the tree kind of like bleeding. You'll see these, we call them pitch tubes. And pitch tubes essentially are the beetle didn't make it, the tree won, beetles started attacking it. The tree's natural response is one of their immune functions is to push it out by causing a little bleeding wound. And that seals the wound, pushes the beetle out. It's going to move on to the next tree. Now, let's say you've got pine bark beetles. What do you do? Or even just pine trees. What do you do? Well, number one is you got to stop the bleeding. Anytime you've got pine bark beetles, you've got a big problem. And if you see, we've got some fallen trees back here. Some others maybe you could see are marked for removal. Now, you want to get rid of the problem and all of the diseased tissue as much as possible. That means get your tree guys, your arborists, to cut the trees down, get them off of your property. Preferably, you want to burn them. That's going to kill all the eggs inside, all the larvae, etc., and really do a great job of eradicating a large number of the population. The second thing is you got to improve the overall health of the trees that you've got. That's really important. Fertilizing, irrigating, especially after a year like we had with all this drought this year. Hottest year on record, all your trees are going to be a little bit or a lot of bit more stressed. And the third thing is if you've got living trees, you've gotten rid of the dead trees, now you've got to treat those trees. And there's a couple of really great options where we can actually kill the beetles inside of the tree. And then we want to work real hard over the next 3 to 5 years to get the tree in a much healthier state. Again, fertilization, keep making sure you're irrigating them whenever we're in a drought and not over irrigating and keeping away the stressors as best as possible. Hey, that's all I've got for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll send you some pictures too down below, like I said in the comments. If you have questions or need help with your pine trees, we'd love to help you out and making sure to keep them healthy and thriving. This is a big problem, and I think we're going to see over the next 10 years a major change to our urban forests here in the Houston area. Thanks so much for watching, and again, arboristondemand.com if you need help with your trees. Thanks so much.